Welcome, everyone. Let me tell you about a tool that you almost certainly already have on your phone. A tool that is free, that is available 24 hours a day, that never gets tired, never judges you, never makes you feel embarrassed for making a mistake. A tool that most English learners are using to translate sentences when they could be using it to become fluent. That tool is ChatGPT, and here is what almost no one is telling you. ChatGPT is not a translation machine. It is a conversation partner, a language coach, a speaking trainer, a writing corrector, and a pronunciation guide, all in one place, all available right now, all completely free. The problem is not access. You have access. The problem is that no one has ever shown you the exact prompts, the exact methods, the exact daily routine that turns ChatGPT into a fluency machine. Most learners open it, ask it to translate a sentence, and close it. What you are about to learn is completely different. In the next 30 minutes, I will give you 8 specific, tested, immediately usable methods for using ChatGPT to build real spoken English fluency, starting today. Please stay until the very end, because the final chapter is the one that connects everything together into a single daily system you can use every morning in 10 minutes.
What I am about to share is not a list of vague tips. It is not just talk to ChatGPT in English every day. That advice without the right structure produces very little. What I will give you are specific prompt formulas, exact instructions you type into ChatGPT that unlock specific fluency-building activities. Each method targets a different layer of spoken English: vocabulary, sentence structure, pronunciation awareness, conversational rhythm, error correction, and confidence. By the end of this story, you will have a complete toolkit of ChatGPT prompts and a ready-to-use daily routine that fits into 15 minutes each morning. And if you care about finally having a real conversation partner that is available anytime, anywhere, that pushes your English without pressure and corrects you without shame, subscribe to our channel right now, because we bring you the most practical, most forward-thinking English learning stories in the world.
Now open ChatGPT, because you are about to use it very differently.
Chapter 1: Why Most Learners Waste ChatGPT. Meet 2 learners. Both have ChatGPT on their phones. Both use it regularly. The first is Amara. Amara opens ChatGPT when she needs to write an email and is not sure of the grammar. She types her message, ChatGPT corrects it, she copies it. She uses it maybe 3 times a week and closes it. After 6 months, her written English is a little better. Her spoken English is exactly the same. The second is Riku. Riku opens ChatGPT every morning for 15 minutes. He asks it to play the role of a hotel receptionist. He practices checking in, asking questions, handling problems. Then he asks ChatGPT to correct every grammar mistake he made. Then he asks it to teach him 3 new phrases from the conversation. Then he reads those phrases aloud, 3 times each. After 6 months, Riku speaks with a confidence that surprises people who knew him before. Same tool, completely different results. The difference is not motivation or intelligence. The difference is prompting strategy. ChatGPT does not know how to teach you English by default. It knows how to respond to what you ask. And if you ask it shallow questions, it produces shallow help. If you ask it deep, structured, strategic questions, it becomes one of the most powerful language tutors available. You are not bad at using technology. You simply were never shown how to use this one correctly. Every chapter from here gives you exactly that. Let us begin.
Chapter 2: The Role-Play Conversation Method. The single greatest fear most English learners have is real conversation. The pressure, the speed, the fear of silence, the worry that your mistake will make someone impatient. ChatGPT removes every one of those fears because it has infinite patience. It never gets bored, it never sighs, it never looks at its watch while you find the right word, and you can make it become any conversation partner you need. Here is the role-play prompt formula. Type this into ChatGPT. Please act as a specific person or role. We are in a specific situation. Speak to me only in natural English. Keep your sentences short and clear. After each of my responses, gently correct any mistakes I made and continue the conversation. For example, please act as a job interviewer at a technology company. I am applying for a project manager position. Speak to me only in natural English. Keep your sentences short and clear. After each of my responses, gently correct any mistakes I made and continue the conversation. That is it. ChatGPT will immediately step into the role, and you will be speaking English in a realistic, pressure-free simulation of exactly the situation you need to prepare for. Practice a job interview, a dinner conversation, a travel situation, asking for directions, negotiating a price, presenting an idea to a team. Any real-life speaking situation, you can simulate it, repeat it, improve it as many times as you need until it feels natural. This is the most direct path to real conversational confidence that exists outside of an actual conversation. And often it builds more confidence than the real conversation does because you arrive at the real one already prepared. Chapter 3: The Error Mirror Technique. Most English learners make the same mistakes for years without ever correcting them. Not because they do not want to, but because no one is watching closely enough to catch the specific patterns. A language teacher in a class of 20 students cannot give you personalized error analysis. There is simply no time. ChatGPT can, and it will do it instantly, specifically, and endlessly. Here is the error mirror prompt. After any writing or speaking exercise, type your text into ChatGPT and use this prompt. Please analyze my English in the text below. List every grammar mistake I made. For each mistake, show me what I wrote, show me the correct version, and explain in one simple sentence why it is wrong. Then, tell me what my 3 most common error types are. Here is my text. Paste your text here. This prompt does 4 things at once. It identifies your specific mistakes. It corrects them clearly. It explains the grammar rule in simple language, and, most powerfully, it identifies your patterns. Because fluency is not built by avoiding mistakes. It is built by understanding them, correcting them, and eventually making them so rarely that your English sounds natural without effort. Use this technique once a day with any paragraph you write. After 2 weeks, you will notice your recurring errors before ChatGPT even points them out. That awareness, that self-correction in real time is one of the clearest signs that fluency is growing. These first 3 methods alone could transform your English practice starting from today.
Before we continue, please take 1 second to like this video and drop a comment below. Which method are you most excited to try first? The role-play conversation? The error mirror? Or are you waiting to see what comes next? Your comment helps me understand what is reaching people most, and it helps this story find the English learners who need it. Now, the next chapters go deeper. We move from fixing mistakes to building vocabulary, training pronunciation awareness, and thinking in English, all through specific ChatGPT prompts you will use daily.
Chapter 4. The Vocabulary Expansion Prompt. Most learners learn vocabulary from lists: a word, a definition, a translation. Repeat until memorized. And then, in a real conversation, the word disappears. Because memorizing a definition is not the same as knowing how a word lives in real English. Native speakers do not think in definitions. They think in collocations, the words that naturally travel together. They think in context, the situations where a word fits and the situations where it does not. They think in tone, formal or informal, warm or cold, strong or gentle. Here is the vocabulary expansion prompt. I want to learn how to use the word blank naturally in English. Please show me 3 natural example sentences, informal, neutral, and formal, 3 words or phrases that commonly go with it, collocations, 1 common mistake non-native speakers make with this word, and 1 similar word, and explain the difference between them. This single prompt turns 1 vocabulary word into a complete, deep language lesson. For example, use it with the word concern. You will learn I have a concern versus I am concerned versus concerning. You will learn that concern collocates with raise, express, and address. You will learn it is not the same as worry, which is more personal and emotional. 3 words a day learned this way is more powerful than 30 words on a flashcard, because these 3 words become yours. You can use them, not just recognize them.
Chapter 5. The Shadow Script Method. There is a technique used by actors to prepare for real, spontaneous-seeming performances. They prepare scripts for the kinds of conversations they expect. They practice the words so many times that when the moment comes, the words feel natural. Not memorized, internalized. You can do the same for real-life English situations. Here is the shadow script prompt. I have an upcoming situation in English. For example, a work presentation, a phone call, a social dinner, a job interview, a complaint to a manager. Please write me a natural, fluent script from my side of this conversation. Use natural spoken English, not too formal, not too casual. Include some hesitation phrases and filler expressions that a real English speaker would use. After the script, list 10 key phrases I should memorize from it. ChatGPT will produce a complete, natural spoken English script tailored exactly to your situation. Your task is read it aloud 3 times. Then put it away and tell the story in your own words, using as many of the phrases as you can remember. This is not memorization for its own sake. It is the absorption of natural English patterns, the rhythms, the phrases, the connectors, into your speaking brain. The next time that situation arrives in real life, you will not be searching for words from scratch. You will be reaching for language you already own. Chapter 6. The Think in English Drill.
The single most reliable sign of true English fluency is this: you stop translating. You stop forming the thought in your first language and then converting it to English. The thought arrives in English directly. This is what separates a B2 learner from a truly fluent speaker. Not grammar, not vocabulary size. The language of thought. And you can train it deliberately with ChatGPT. Here is the Think in English drill prompt. Give me a random everyday topic, something simple, like morning routines, coffee, city noise, waiting in line. I will speak about this topic for 60 seconds without stopping. I will type what I said. You will then correct my English and show me more natural ways to say things. Then give me another topic. The key instruction in this prompt is without stopping. The stopping, the pause to translate, is the habit you are breaking. When you force yourself to keep talking, your brain is forced to find English words directly, without the translation bridge. It is uncomfortable at first. The sentences may be imperfect. That is exactly the point. You are training your brain to think in a new language, and that training only happens when you remove the safety net of translation. 5 topics per day, 5 60-second bursts. After 30 days, notice what has changed. The gap between thought and speech will have closed, noticeably, measurably, permanently.
Chapter 7. The Speak Formula. Now, let us put every method together into one complete daily routine that uses ChatGPT as your personal English coach. 15 minutes every morning, using 5 specific prompts in sequence. I call it the Speak Formula. S. Simulate a conversation. Open ChatGPT. Use the role-play prompt. Choose a real situation you want to prepare for, or simply a casual conversation topic. Speak for 5 minutes. Type your responses. Let ChatGPT correct you as you go. This is your daily speaking warm-up. P. Pick 3 words. After your conversation, look at the corrections ChatGPT gave you, or choose 3 words you used but were uncertain about. Use the vocabulary expansion prompt for each one. 3 words, deep understanding, said aloud 3 times each. E. Expand with a script. 2 or 3 times a week, use the shadow script method. Pick an upcoming real-life situation in English. Get the script. Read it aloud twice. Tell it back in your own words. A. Analyze your errors. At the end of your session, paste everything you typed into the error mirror prompt. Read the corrections carefully. Notice the patterns. Write 1 corrected sentence in your notebook, just 1, daily, in your own handwriting. K. Keep thinking in English. Use the Think in English drill for 2 topics, 2 60-second bursts, no stopping, no translating, just English. Simulate, pick, expand, analyze, keep thinking. S, P, E, A, K. Speak. 15 minutes every morning with the most patient, most available, most personalized English teacher you have ever had. One that fits in your pocket and costs nothing.
Chapter 8. The Identity of a ChatGPT English Speaker. Let me tell you about a learner named Celine. Celine had been studying English for 7 years. She had taken classes, used apps, watched English films. Her reading and listening were excellent.
Her speaking still hesitant, still slow, still uncertain. When she first started using ChatGPT for speaking practice, she found something unexpected. Not the grammar corrections, those were useful. Not the vocabulary, that was helpful. What she found was that she had stopped being afraid. Because when there is no one watching, no native speaker to impress, no classmate to compare yourself to, no teacher to disappoint, the fear of speaking begins to dissolve. She practiced her job interview with ChatGPT 7 times. On the 8th, the real one, she said, "It felt like I had already done this before." She got the job. But here is what I want you to understand. ChatGPT did not make her fluent. She made herself fluent by showing up every morning and doing the uncomfortable work of speaking in a language that did not yet feel like home. ChatGPT was the safe room where she built the courage to walk into the real world and use it. The tool works, but only if the person behind it decides daily, without waiting for confidence to arrive first, that they are already an English speaker. A speaker who practices, a speaker who corrects, a speaker who shows up, even to an AI, and speaks. That is who you are starting today, and ChatGPT is waiting for you.
You have just received one of the most complete, most immediately actionable ChatGPT English fluency systems ever created for learners around the world. You didn't just hear some general advice about AI. You learned exactly why most learners waste ChatGPT and how to use it like a professional language coach instead. You learned the role-play conversation method that turns ChatGPT into any partner you need. The error mirror that makes your mistakes your fastest teacher. The vocabulary expansion prompt that teaches words the way natives use them. The shadow script method that prepares you for real situations before they arrive. The think in English drill that breaks the translation habit permanently. And the Speak formula, your complete 15-minute daily routine that builds real, usable, confident English fluency one morning at a time. You are not a learner waiting for a classroom. You are not someone who needs to find a conversation partner before you can practice speaking. You are an English speaker with the most patient, most available, most personalized language coach in history already on your phone, waiting for you to ask the right questions. If this story helped you even 1%, please subscribe to our channel right now. We are building a community of English learners who do not wait for perfect conditions. They use the tools available right now to build the fluency they deserve. Save this video. Return to it whenever you need to remember how to use ChatGPT well. Use each chapter like a prompt in your toolkit. Reach for the one you need, open ChatGPT, and begin. Remember, fluency does not come from perfect tools. It comes from imperfect people who show up every day and speak anyway.
Open ChatGPT. Start a conversation. Make a mistake. Correct it. Learn from it. Try again tomorrow. Speak before you are ready. Practice before it feels natural. Show up before confidence arrives. And most of all, remember that the English speaker you want to be is already inside you. They just need somewhere safe to practice. ChatGPT is that place, starting now. Thank you for listening. Let's grow together.
Welcome, everyone. Think about the one thing you wanted most, the thing you prayed for, the thing you planned for, the thing you were so certain was meant for you. The job, the relationship, the opportunity, The door you stood in front of for months, maybe years, certain that it would open. And then it did not. It closed, quietly or loudly or painfully, and you were left standing there, asking the question that all of us have asked at least once in our lives: why? Most people answer that question with blame. They blame themselves, they blame others, they blame the world for being unjust, or they blame God for being absent. But here is the truth that very few people discover before a great deal of time has passed. The closed door was not a punishment, it was protection. The plan that fell apart was not a failure, it was a redirection. And the thing you did not receive was often making space for something far beyond what you were capable of imagining at the time you wanted it. This story is not about passive waiting. It is not about giving up on your dreams and calling it faith. It is about something far more powerful. Learning to move through loss, through disappointment, through the silence of unanswered prayers, with trust, with purpose, and with open hands. Please stay until the very end, because the final chapter carries the deepest truth of all. This story draws from the timeless wisdom found across the great spiritual traditions of the world, from the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, from the stories of prophets and the patience of the righteous, and from the real, lived experiences of ordinary people who lost what they wanted and found what they needed. We will move through 8 chapters today. Each one carries a different layer of this truth, that divine wisdom operates at a depth our human vision cannot always reach. You will hear stories of doors that closed and what waited on the other side. You will learn the practice of surrendered effort, of working hard and releasing the outcome, of finding meaning in the waiting, of trusting a plan that is larger than your plan. And you will walk away with the trust formula, a complete daily framework for holding your life with both effort and faith, without letting fear of the future steal the peace of the present. And if you care about finding peace in uncertainty, strength in hardship, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are not alone in your story, subscribe to our channel right now, because we bring you the most honest, most spiritually deep English stories in the world. Now, let us begin.
Chapter 1. The Door That Would Not Open. There is a story told about a man named Tarek. Tarek had spent 4 years working toward one goal, a position at a company he deeply admired. He had tailored his education toward it. He had taken side projects to build the right experience. He had prayed for it, consistently, sincerely, the way you pray for something when it feels like your entire future depends on the answer. The interview came. He prepared thoroughly. He felt it went well. Then the rejection email arrived. Short, polite, final. Tarek sat with it for a long time. He went through the stages most of us recognize: disbelief, then sadness, then something close to anger. Not at the company, at God. I prayed, I worked, I tried everything. What more was I supposed to do? 18 months later, Tarek had built something of his own. A small company, started almost by accident, in the space the rejection had forced him into. By the 3rd year, it employed 12 people.
One afternoon, he passed the building of the company that had rejected him. He stopped. He looked at it for a moment. And then, quietly, alone on the pavement, he said, "Thank you." This is not a story about working hard and succeeding. Those stories are everywhere. This is a story about what happens in the gap between the door that closed and the door that hadn't yet appeared. In that gap, most people give up. Some become bitter. A few, the ones who have learned to trust, keep walking. Not because they know where the next door is, but because they trust that there is one. And that trust, not certainty, not proof, but trust, is the first tool this story will give you.
Chapter 2. The Wisdom of Delays. In the Quran, there is a story that has given strength to believers for 14 centuries. The story of the prophet Yusuf, Joseph, peace be upon him. He was loved by his father above all his brothers. He had a dream that pointed toward a great destiny. And then, in one terrible day, his brothers threw him into a well. He was sold into slavery in a foreign land. He served faithfully and was falsely accused. He was imprisoned for years for something he did not do. And from inside that prison, he could not have seen what was coming. He could not have known that the very suffering that confined him was building the character, the wisdom, and the experience that would one day make him capable of leading a nation. He could not have known that the false accusation that imprisoned him would eventually bring him directly into the presence of the king. Every delay, every injustice, every closed door was part of a sequence that his human eyes could not read, but that divine wisdom had already written. The Arabic word is tawakkul. It is often translated as trust in God, but that translation misses something important. Tawakkul is not passive. It is not sitting still and hoping. It is doing everything you are capable of doing, every honest effort, every sincere action, and then releasing the outcome to the one whose vision is not limited by time. The prophet Yusuf did not stop working in prison. He interpreted dreams. He helped those around him. He continued to live with integrity in a place that had given him every reason to give up. Tawakkul is not the absence of effort. It is effort without attachment to a specific outcome. It is working and trusting that the result belongs to God. Your delay is not an accident. It is not evidence that your prayers are unheard. It may simply be, as it was for Yusuf, the long corridor that leads to the room you could not yet have entered.
Chapter 3. The Practice of Surrendered Effort. There is a famous hadith, a saying of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. A man came to him and asked, "Should I tie my camel or trust in God?" The Prophet answered, "Tie your camel, and then trust in God." This is one of the most compact and profound teachings on the relationship between human effort and divine trust ever recorded. It tells us, do not use faith as an excuse for passivity. Do not say, God will provide, while refusing to work. Do not call surrender what is actually fear. Tie your camel. Do the work. Make the call. Send the application. Have the difficult conversation. Show up. Use every legitimate means available to you. And then, having done all of that, release the result. Not with resignation, with trust. Here's the practice.
For any important goal or situation in your life right now, take a piece of paper. Draw a line down the middle. On the left side, write everything that is in your control. The actions you can take, the effort you can give, the preparation, the intention, the showing up. On the right side, write everything that is not in your control. Other people's decisions, timing, outcomes, results, the way the world responds to your effort. Now, make a commitment. Give everything you have to the left side and release the right side completely, sincerely, to the one who holds it anyway. This is surrendered effort, and it is the most freeing practice a human being can learn, because it gives you full responsibility for what you can control and full peace about what you cannot.
We are building something meaningful together in this story, and I hope, wherever you are, whatever you are carrying today, something in these first 3 chapters has already reached you. Before we continue, please take 1 second to like this video and leave a comment below. Is there a closed door in your life right now? Something you wanted that did not come, that you are still learning to trust? You do not have to share the details, even a word, even just yes, because you are not alone in that waiting. Now the next chapters go deeper into how to hold pain with meaning, how to read the signs in your own story, and how to build the inner posture that transforms hardship into direction. Chapter 4. The Gift Inside the Wound. There is a woman named Lila who spent 3 years in a marriage that slowly broke her, not through dramatic cruelty, through quiet erosion, through being unseen, through being diminished, through learning over time to make herself smaller so that someone else could feel larger. When the marriage ended, Lila described the feeling as walking out of a building she had not realized was on fire until the moment she stood in fresh air. The grief was real. The loss was real. She had believed in that marriage. She had prayed for it. She had tried. But in the 2 years after, something happened that she had not expected. She began for the first time in a long time to hear her own voice. She discovered what she actually believed, what she actually wanted, what kind of person she was when no one was watching and when no one was diminishing her. She said years later, "I would not wish that pain on anyone, and I would not give back what it taught me for anything." This is the paradox at the heart of human suffering. The wounds that seem most unjust are often the ones that carry the deepest instruction. Not because suffering is good, it is not. Pain is real, loss is real. But because within every genuine difficulty, if we are willing to look carefully, there is something being built in us that could not have been built any other way. The question is not, why is this happening to me? The question that opens something is, what is this making space for? What am I learning that I could not have learned otherwise? What is being removed from me that was never truly mine? These questions do not make the pain disappear, but they transform it from something happening to you into something happening for you, even when you cannot yet see how. Chapter 5. Reading Your Own Story. There is an exercise that has brought clarity to many people who felt lost inside their own lives. It is called the looking back practice. Take a quiet moment and think back to a time 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when something happened that felt like a setback, a rejection, a failure. A loss. A relationship that ended. A plan that collapsed. A door that refused to open. Now ask, where did that closed door lead? What came after it that you could not have reached if the door had opened as you wanted? For most people who do this exercise honestly, the answer is humbling. The university that rejected them led to the friendship that changed everything. The job they lost freed them for the work they were truly meant to do. The relationship that ended left room for the one that actually fit who they had become. This is not wishful thinking. It is the pattern recognition that only comes when you have enough distance to see. In Arabic, there is a concept. Khair. Goodness. And the believer is taught to believe that in every decree, even the painful ones, there is khair, there is goodness. Sometimes visible, sometimes hidden, sometimes only apparent years later. The looking back practice is not about pretending the past did not hurt. It is about training your eyes to see the pattern, so that the next time a door closes in front of you, you have evidence from your own life that something better may be waiting on the other side. Your past is not just a collection of things that happened. It is a record of how you were guided, even when you did not know you were being guided at all.
Chapter 6. The Prayer That Changes Everything. In Islamic tradition, there is a prayer unlike any other in the world's spiritual heritage. It is called istikhara, the prayer of seeking guidance. When a believer faces an important decision, a marriage, a job, a move, a choice between two paths, they are taught to perform 2 units of prayer and then to make a supplication that has been preserved word for word from the Prophet, peace be upon him. The words of that supplication are extraordinary. The believer says, in essence, "O God, I ask you to choose for me. You know what I do not know. You are capable of what I am not. If this matter is good for me, in my religion, in my life, and in my future, then decree it for me. And if it is bad for me, then turn it away from me, and turn me away from it, and decree for me whatever is good, wherever it may be." There is a depth in this prayer that is difficult to fully convey. It is an act of radical trust, a voluntary release of the ego's insistence on a specific outcome, an acknowledgement that the one who created you understands your needs more completely than you do. Many people who have prayed istikhara describe the same experience. Not a dream or a sign or a dramatic revelation, but a quiet settling, a gradual opening in one direction and a closing in another. A sense, not always comfortable, sometimes difficult, that the path is becoming clear. Even if you do not know how to make this prayer, the principle beneath it is available to everyone. Before your next important decision, try this. Sit in quiet and say honestly to God, in whatever language, in whatever way feels true for you, "O God, choose for me what I cannot choose for myself. I trust that your plan is better than my plan." And then watch what opens and watch what closes, and trust what you see.
Chapter 7. The Trust Formula.
Now let us bring every thread of this story together into one complete daily practice, a formula for living with both full effort and full faith, a way of moving through life that does not collapse under uncertainty, but is actually deepened by it. I call it the trust formula. T. Tie your camel. Do the work. Every day, identify your one most important action, the thing that is genuinely in your control. Give it your full, honest, unhurried effort. Do not skip the rope and call it faith. Do not confuse passivity with surrender. Work as if everything depends on your work. R. Release the outcome. Having tied your camel, open your hands. Say clearly in your heart, I have done what I can. The rest belongs to you. This is not defeat, it is the highest wisdom. It frees you from the exhaustion of trying to control what was never yours to control. You understand the delay. When the answer does not come, resist the urge to panic. Return to the story of Yusuf. Return to your own history. Ask, what might this delay be making space for? What is being built in me right now that I could not have built any other way? S. Seek the gift in the wound. For any difficulty currently in your life, practice the question, what is this teaching me that I needed to learn? Not as a spiritual performance, as a genuine search. Even a partial answer, even one small insight, changes your relationship to the pain. T. Trust the pattern. Once a week, do the looking back practice. Find one thing from your past that felt like a setback and became a gift. Let that evidence build your trust for the closed doors you are standing in front of today. Tie. Release. Understand. Seek. Trust. T-R-U-S-T. Not a passive trust, not a blind trust, but the trust of someone who has seen enough of the pattern to know deeply, quietly, unshakably that the one who holds the plan is more capable, more knowing, and more merciful than any plan they could have written for themselves.
Chapter 8. The Person Who Trusts. There is a quality that people with deep trust carry that is immediately recognizable, though rarely named. It is not the absence of difficulty. They face loss, they face rejection, they face pain, the same storms that strike everyone. It is not certainty about the future. They do not know what is coming. They do not have a map that others lack. What they have is something quieter, something more durable than certainty, something that holds even when everything else shakes. It is the unshakable inner conviction that they are not alone in their story, that the one who created them is not absent from their life, is not indifferent to their pain, is not punishing them with closed doors, but is actively, lovingly, invisibly working every moment, even the hardest ones, toward an outcome that their human eyes cannot yet see. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "How wonderful is the affair of the believer! If good comes to him, he is grateful, and that is good for him. If hardship comes to him, he is patient, and that is good for him." This is not a naive comfort. It is the most grounded, most tested wisdom in the history of human spiritual experience. People who have lost everything and found it again, transformed. people who were broken and rebuilt stronger, people who prayed for the door that did not open and were led by the closing to the life they were actually made for. That person, the one who trusts, is not a different kind of person from you. They are the person you already are when you choose, in the face of the unknown, to believe that you are held. And you are.
You have just completed one of the most tender, most honest, most spiritually alive stories about trust and divine wisdom ever created for an English learning audience. You didn't just hear comforting words, you heard a framework. The story of Tariq, who found his purpose through rejection. The story of Yusuf, whose prison became his preparation. The story of Lila, who found her own voice in her loss. The practice of tying your camel and releasing the outcome. The looking back practice that finds the pattern in your own history. The prayer of istikhara, asking God to choose what you cannot. And the trust formula, your complete daily practice for living with effort and faith, with action and surrender, with open hands and a full heart. You are not someone abandoned by God. You are not someone whose prayers have gone unheard. You are not someone whose closed doors mean a closed future. You are someone who is being guided through every chapter of your story, including the ones that are hardest to read. If this story touched you, even a little, please subscribe to our channel right now. We are building a community of English learners who believe that the most beautiful stories are the ones that remind us we are never, not once, truly alone. Save this video. Return to it on the days when the door will not open. Use each chapter like a lamp in a dark corridor. Hold it up. Keep walking. Trust the path. Remember, God's plan is not delayed. It is precise. It is purposeful. And it was written with knowledge of every closed door, every unanswered prayer, every night of waiting, by the one who loves you more than you know how to love yourself. Tie your camel, release the outcome, do the work, and open your hands. Trust the delay, trust the closing, trust the story you cannot yet fully read, and most of all, trust the one who is writing it. You are not lost, you are being led. Thank you for listening. Let's grow together.
Welcome, everyone. I need to tell you something that most English teachers will never say. You have been learning English for years, maybe 5 years, maybe 10. You have studied grammar rules, you have memorized vocabulary lists, you have passed tests, and yet, the moment someone speaks to you in English, your mind goes blank. Your mouth freezes, the words disappear. You know English, but you cannot speak it. Why? Here is the truth. You have been studying English the wrong way, not because you are lazy, not because you are bad at languages, but because the traditional system was never designed to make you fluent. It was designed to make you pass a test. Fluency is not about knowing more words. Fluency is not about perfect grammar. Fluency is about how your brain is trained to think, feel, and speak all at the same time without stopping. And in the next 30 minutes, I am going to show you a completely different approach to English, one that will rewire the way you think in this language, starting today, in just 1 month. So please stay until the very end, because what you are about to hear might change everything.
This approach is different. It is not a list of words to memorize. It is not another grammar lesson. It is a system, a complete monthly plan built on how the human brain actually learns to speak a language. Scientists call it acquisition, not learning. Children don't study their mother tongue. They absorb it. They live inside it. They speak before they understand all the rules. Today, we will build that same natural process for you in 8 chapters. Each chapter gives you a real technique, a real exercise, and a real daily practice you can start using immediately. And if you care about finally speaking English with confidence, with speed, and without the fear that has been holding you back, subscribe to our channel right now, because we bring you the most honest, most human English learning stories in the world. Now, let us begin. Chapter 1. Why You Cannot Speak. Let me introduce you to 2 people. The first person is May. May studied English for 8 years in school. She got top marks in her grammar exams. She can write a perfect essay in English. But when a foreign colleague says, "How was your weekend?" May freezes. Her face turns red. She says, "Good, thank you," and looks away. She knows the words, but she cannot use them. The second person is Carlos. Carlos never studied English formally. He spent 6 months watching American TV shows with English subtitles. He listened to English podcasts while cooking, while walking, while falling asleep. He talked to himself in English while alone in his room. Today, Carlos laughs at English jokes. He tells stories in English. He is not perfect, but he is fluent. What is the difference between May and Carlos? It is not intelligence. It is not talent. It is this. May trained her reading brain. Carlos trained his speaking brain. These are different systems inside your mind. The part of your brain that reads and understands language and the part that produces spoken language, they are connected, but they are not the same. You have to train the right one. There is also something else, something no textbook ever talks about: fear. When you try to speak and feel nervous, your brain releases a stress signal, and that signal actually blocks access to the words you know. This is a real physical process. Stress literally shuts down fluency. So the problem is not your vocabulary. The problem is not your grammar. The problem is that your brain has never felt safe speaking English. And that is exactly what we are going to fix. Chapter 2. Immersion without moving. People say, if you want to speak English, move to an English-speaking country. This is true, but it is also an excuse. Because what matters about living in another country is not the country. It is the immersion, the constant exposure, the way English surrounds you from the moment you wake up. And you can create that right where you are. This technique is called total environment shift. Here is how to do it. Step 1. Change your phone to English right now, today. Every notification, every menu, every app. Your brain sees these words hundreds of times a day. It begins to absorb them without effort. Step 2. Choose one English language podcast or show and make it your daily background sound. Not to study, just to hear. While you cook, while you clean, while you walk. Let English become the sound of your daily life. Step 3. Label your world. Put small paper labels on objects in your home: the table, the mirror, the window, the door. Write the English word. Every time you see it,
say it aloud. These 3 small changes create something remarkable. Your brain stops treating English as a foreign, separate thing. It starts treating English as part of your normal life. And when English feels normal, speaking it becomes natural.
Chapter 3. Shadow Speaking. Let me tell you about a technique so powerful that professional interpreters, the people who translate live speeches, use it to train their speaking speed. It is called shadowing, and it is beautifully simple. You listen to a native English speaker,